Now the moment has come when you have been waiting. It is a pleasure to introduce our messengers of peace. They have become an indispensable part of our student conference on the International Day of Peace. We all look forward to their participation, and they also enjoy talking to young people like yourselves who gather here every year with such enthusiasm. You inspire them, and I'm sure that they inspire you. Now, first speaker to ask is Mr. Michael Douglas. Mr. Douglas. As you know very well, Mr. Michael Douglas is a renowned film actor and producer from the United States. He was designated Messenger of Peace in 1998, 10 years ago. Since then, he has demonstrated a strong commitment to disarmament, including nuclear non-proliferation and stemming the tide of small arms and light weapons. He has furthered the agenda of the United Nations on the world stage and has had considerable political impact both in the United States and abroad. Mr. Douglas has expressed his dedication in word, deed, and through significant financial contributions to the United Nations disarmament program. Without further ado, Mr. Douglas, you have it.
Thank you, Undersecretary Saka. Thank you for being here. And thank all of you for sharing this Peace Day with all of us. It's a pleasure for me to be with my fellow messengers of peace, both for their illustrious, extraordinary careers and for their commitment to the United Nations. Peace Day for me is a wonderful time here at the United Nations. It's a reminder of our lifelong goals are, and also of the wonderful work that the United Nations does. Sometimes it's hard to realize that since the creation of the United Nations, there actually has been less conflict in the world. We don't feel that because we are in a world of instant messaging, so much information coming in, the sense of so many conflicts going on around the world. But the truth is, it is getting better. And for me, it's such a reaffirmation to see a new generation that is going to support the United Nations in its continued work. It's an interesting thing about conflict. As an actor, one knows that conflict is more dramatic. It's more interesting to watch. I remember many years ago I tried to start a newspaper called the News Sun. It was going to be a newspaper only about good news. It was a dismal failure because conflict is what makes things dramatic. As an actor, when you're working on a scene or you're improvising on a scene, it's much easier to create conflict than it is to create humor. So I think that's something that we all have to recognize, that drama is something integral, and peace and humor is something that we have to work at much more hard. I'm involved and came to this area of disarmament through a couple of personal issues in my life. One was a movie I did many years ago in 1979 called The China Syndrome, which is about the meltdown of a nuclear power plant, and it set me on a path understanding more about this issue. And that was followed soon after that by looking at where my roots, where my family came. My father came from a country called Belarus, which I've seen right here in front. And as I went back to find in Belarus where my family family's roots were, I couldn't. Because Belarus, the town where we came from, was very close to the border of the Ukraine, where there was a nuclear power plant called Chernobyl. And they had a disaster there, and the disaster went downwind into a large area of Belarus, which is gone. So that played an important part in my life. And then finally, personally, was here in New York in December, many years ago, and was walking home about 12 o'clock at night and saw a lot of police activity, and recognized a dear friend of mine, John Lennon, who'd been shot here in New York, and brought me into the issues of small arms and disarmament. And so those are the areas that I focus on. There's a tremendous number of issues that we have in the world, but those are the ones that I try to share and talk to organizations, give speeches about, and share with others. I spent some time we had the United Nations in Sierra Leone, which is right next door to Liberia, was involved with the United Nations mission before they left Sierra Leone to go to Liberia, so I have some sense of what is going on in that area, both with the disarmament and use of child soldiers. So I think I'm actually hopeful, and people find that very difficult to understand. I really believe in the area of nuclear weapons, we are going to see a dramatic reduction of weapons in my lifetime. Certainly in yours, there's a number of elections that are coming up in different countries, and a lot of beliefs that there's no need anymore. So I continue and am proud to be able to work as a messenger of peace for the United Nations, and I welcome all of you here and support you for your interest, and feel very enthused that there is another generation that are going to be strong supporters of the United Nations. Thank you very much.